Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you my study routine for improving speed and accuracy. I don't have any truth, I just want to share my experience and how I got results using this method instead of other methods. So let's jump right in. Here we are. Why this video? I've been asked many times about my study routine, but most of all, I've been asked how I managed to do my renditions of classical music, composed for violin or piano, and how I practice to be able to actually play those pieces. And so I decided to share. I think that sometimes the most intuitive approach may not be the most effective. And I'm not saying that the most used approach is wrong. I repeat, I have no truth. I'm just sharing my experience and what I think made me improve a lot faster and got me in the right mindset to play up to speed and get the most accuracy during the process. So what is this most used technique to study a difficult solo or some piece of music in general? It is to slow down the tempo to a comfortable speed, practice the piece till it sounds right, and then increase the speed by 2, 3, 4 beats per minute, and then practice the piece again till it sounds right, and then increase the speed again by 2, 3, 4 beats per minute, and then repeat this process over and over again until eventually you can actually play the piece at the right speed. Well, I've been using this technique for quite some time, but then I thought about the downsides of this method. First of all, why should we want to go through the whole piece in the first place? Do you really need to hear the whole piece before you play it up to speed? I mean, if you decided to play an actual piece of music, that means that you already know how it sounds, I guess. Unless you pick up a random music sheet from the internet. But even in this case, do you really need to memorize the whole thing before you play up to speed? It's not a memory competition, is it? Let's just decide that we don't care about playing the whole thing to begin with, okay? But what is still, in my humble opinion, of course, the main downside is that to train for speed, you have to run and not walk. I mean, if you see me outside walking and you ask me, "Hey doc, what are you doing? Taking a nice walk in the sunshine?" What if I answer, "No mate, I'm training for the 100 meters dash"? You would be looking at me like, "Okay, if you say so, bye." Because it's not plausible that I'm training for the 100 meters dash by just walking. So to train for speed, you have to run. But how do athletes train for the 100 meters dash? Or for other pure speed competition like the 400 meters dash? Well, they usually go through these steps. And this may not be 100% universal, but quite so. First, they warm up so they don't get hurt during the training. Then they go for sprints, sets of sprints and rests. But they don't go for the full track at first. They go for, let's say, 20 meters. And when they are trained to do these 20-meter sprints, and I mean at full speed, right? Write this down, full speed. Then they go for the 30 meters, and then 40 meters, always at full speed. Then eventually they reach these 100 meters. So they don't walk for 100 meters and then raise the speed a little bit, then walk 100 more meters, and then raise the speed a little bit, and so on and so on. So what can we learn from this? But first, I'd like to be clear about something. We're not talking about feeling or expression here, okay? We're just talking about speed and accuracy now. Just this, okay? That's why I've been using a sports metaphor. Because I think that discipline is required for both sports and guitar technique. And so is a good and effective training. So how can I translate all this into guitar practice to increase speed and accuracy? Well, I just do the same steps. First, I warm up so I don't get hurt during the training. Then I go for sprints and rests. I don't walk through the whole piece just to repeat it over and over again, slowly increasing the speed. I just go for a small amount of notes, even the smaller amount possible to call it plural, which is 2 notes. But I do it at full speed. And when I'm comfortable with those 2 notes, I move on to the next bunch of notes. Or even just one more note. I don't know how many notes I can play fast in a row. It depends on the actual piece of music I'm studying. But I just do it. I just go for it. Then eventually I reach the end of the piece. And what is the advantage of using this method? Well, it's quite intuitive, right? I train my fingers and my mind to be fast. If I slowly increase a low speed, that means that when I reach the end of my studying process, I will have played up to speed just for a small amount of time. Actually, just the last time I played the piece. And then starting from that point, I would go on studying at full speed. But with the other method, I will have trained my fingers to move fast and my mind to think fast from the beginning. And this makes a huge difference. Or at least it made it for me. Let's make another example or metaphor. Let's say a truck and a Ferrari. They have the same horsepower, right? But are they equally fast? No way. But why is that? Well, because the Ferrari has all that's needed to be athletic and run very fast. The Ferrari is light, it's 1.3 meters high, has a perfect aerodynamic shape. What about the truck? The truck is just the opposite. It's heavy, it's tall, has no aerodynamic shape, just won't run at all. So again, to translate this other metaphor into guitar practice, when I practice speed, I want to be a Ferrari and not a truck. But if I practice at half speed, maybe I won't take care of all the elements that will make me a Ferrari. Maybe I will lift my fingers from the fretboard more than it's necessary. Maybe I will pick heavier than it's necessary. Maybe I will make unnecessary wrist movements. Maybe I won't breathe consistently. And maybe I will stay less focused. Because if I play at half speed, then the task will be easier. So maybe I will behave like a truck and not like a Ferrari. Or maybe not a truck, but an SUV or a station wagon. Still not a Ferrari. Ferrari is different. So when I play up to speed, I have to take care of all the elements that will make me a Ferrari. Otherwise, I just won't run very fast. So I will keep my fingers down on the fretboard. I will make only the necessary movements and no more than that. And I will breathe consistently and normally, or at least I will try to do all those things. I will train to do all those things from the beginning of my study. I won't get to those things just at the end. And allow me to digress a little bit, but not much. Let's talk for a minute about the importance of consistent and normal breathing during guitar practice. Breathing is the most essential thing in life, right? There's breathing, then drinking, then eating. You can survive weeks without eating. You can survive days without drinking, but only minutes without breathing. So if you ever experience apnea, in a matter of a few seconds, your brain will set off an alarm, right? Mayday, mayday, oxygen stopped coming in. Okay? Then your brain will start the standard procedure to save you from death. That means to save your heart. Okay, your brain knows that your heart cannot stop. So what will your brain do if there's an oxygen shortage? Well, it will cut energy from your fingers and toes first, because they can be sacrificed for greater good, which is to save your heart. But you are playing with your fingers. Okay, so if they get numb because you're holding your breath during a furious shred. Oh my God! Guess what happens? So please get used to breathe normally during the speed training. It may not be easy at first because the task is hard. Maybe you're not used to play up to speed, you're not used to behave as a Ferrari. But trust me, this is the best investment. Train yourself to breathe normally during speed practice. And if you can't manage to do that, be bold. Write down or print a big piece of paper with breathe written on it. All capitals and this big. And keep it on your desk or on the floor or wherever you can see it all the time during your practice. This will save you from a lot of pain and disappointment. Trust me, I've been there. Alright, that's enough theory. Let's go for the real. I will show you now how I studied for my last rendition of a classical music piece, the Solfeggietto in C minor by Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. It's a piano composition. It involves lots of arpeggios, which I believe are easier to play on a piano because you have this linear keyboard, right? Instead of a fretted fretboard over 6 strings, or 7 in this case. So how did I study this solfeggietto? Well, I just used the approach I've been talking about for 15 minutes. What else? So let's get to it. Okay, so here we are. We have this solfeggietto music sheet by C.P.E. Emanuel Bach. It's in C minor. All right, let's say we have 150 BPMs. I'm recording guitar and voice on Logic. Let's have a look. We have these arpeggios, and you see that rhythmic-wise is all the same, right? It's always in 16th, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 tak 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 tak. It's all the same through all the piece. But we don't care about going through the whole thing, right? We said so. So let's start practicing speed. Okay. So we have E flat, C, E flat, G. All right. Let's pretend we already know the right fingering. So let's start with 2 notes. This. Okay, I will put the click on it. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. Okay, so 2 notes, right? Remember, we are a Ferrari, so we breathe normally. We lift the fingers just a little bit, like, and we pick just with the right amount of strength. Sprint and rest. Okay, you can give me 2 notes, right? That's great. Let's go on. E flat, C, E flat. Again, 3 notes. So it's like... Let's say that you have to play these 3 notes right 10 times in a row. When you have them 10 times in a row correctly, then let's say you own these notes. So let's do them. This, takata, 3, 4. 1 2 3 4. Takata, 2 3 4. Takata, 2 3 4. Oh yeah. Sprints and rests. Let's rest. Breathe normally. This is gonna get harder in a few seconds. Okay, let's add 1 note. It's E flat, C, E flat, G. Okay, 2 3 4. That's great. Okay, if you cannot do this, if you get 1 note wrong, let's say 1 2 3 4. Oh, I messed up. From the top, don't worry about it. You have plenty of time. 2, 3, 4. Oh, I screwed up. From the top. Oh yeah. That's great. Then we add one more note, which is C, right? So, okay, let's say I want to play this note with my index finger, because later on there are these 4 notes, C, E flat, D, C, which I may be picking like, this is the most comfortable way. So let's say we need to do this, right, with this particular position. So sprints and rests again. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Okay, maybe you will try only with the open strings. So 2 notes on the 6th, 1 note on the 5th, 1 note on the 4th. Then you coordinate. Okay, so you're being a Ferrari from the top. Then you have 4 notes, and then you fall on the next beat. So stak-a-tik-ta, stak-a-tik-ta. All right, then you try to put everything together. Oops, wrong. From the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry, from the top. That's great. That's great. And then we move on. Like B, G, B, D, and then G again. So. Breathe. Be a Ferrari. Stay low. Stay put with your fingers on the fretboard. Only do the right amount of movements with your wrist. Don't do this like in rock and roll rhythm, right? You're playing lead. Okay. Again. 2, 3, 4. Right. If you get one note wrong, again, from the top. Okay, then you have G, F, E flat, E, and then next beat E flat again. So it's all right. Let's rock. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Oops, wrong. From the top. 2, 3, 4. You see the trick here? If you get the wrong note at the 9th time, you have to start from 1. So trust me, you will play the piece fair amount of times. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. All right. Then you have this C minor arpeggio again, E flat, C, E flat, G, and then C again. I will do this with a string skipping. Two notes, 3 notes, I don't care how many notes you can play fast. Add one. Yeah. Add one more. 3, 4. Breathe normally. Be a Ferrari. That's great. Then you put everything together. Again. 3, 4. Okay. I think I've made my point. So we've made like one measure, but who cares about this? We're going through the end of the piece. Don't worry about it. But we're just gonna do it at the right speed. Oh yeah. All right, that's it. I hope you guys found this useful. Let me know, drop it a line in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like my video, and see you next time. Ciao.